What's up, guys? It's your boy Animate-bottle here with another video, or as you may know me as in real life, Nathan. Hi. Today I just want to talk about YouTubers and streamers my age, like around that 17 to maybe even like 14, right? Because people getting famous at an early age, and I just wanted you to think that why are all these up and coming streamers and YouTubers just mental? I don't want to say mental. That sounds really bad. But they don't have respect. They're not really I don't want to say proper either, because it's you're a kid, you don't really understand, but at the same time, you don't have the maturity levels to understand the world around you, and especially if you're young and you get famous quick. I mean, I can just think of one main character, Rakai. That guy, me personally, I don't think he should have become famous. And I'm not gatekeeping who shouldn't be and who is. Hold on, who shouldn't be and who shouldn't be famous, right? I'm not saying that it's you should be famous, you shouldn't be famous, but I think it's just more of Rakai feels like, number one, he can't speak for shit. Number two, he's immature as fuck. And number three, people his age, I feel like even though they're not fully mature, they have some level of understanding. And I think the reason why he doesn't have that is because, he's a big streamer, he's a big YouTuber. He's famous enough where he can disregard those things and not fully, have those things. And let me paint you a scenario of a make-believe person. Now imagine this. You're 14 years old. You uploaded a random video after school. You wake up next morning, not thinking much of it, and it hits 500,000 views. Sounds like a dream, right? Thousands of people know your name, companies want to work with you. You're making more money than some adults, right? Probably your mom and dad. You probably make more than your parents. But the problem is, you're still 14. And while everyone sees the views, subscribers, and money, almost nobody talks about what comes with it, right? Because being a young creator isn't just playing games and getting famous. It sometimes completely changes how you grow up, all right? Now, most people become famous after they already figure out who they are, actors, athletes, musicians. But YouTube flipped that. Now someone can become famous right out of middle school, elementary school. You have family channels and stuff where kids who are not even 10 years old become super famous. And that's exciting, but also really weird. When you're a teenager, you're already trying to figure things out, like who your friends are, what you're interested in, what you want to become. Now imagine doing all of that with hundreds of thousands of people watching you and watching every mistake you make, every dumb decision, every bad action, maybe every phase, every opinion of you is posted when you were 15. And the internet doesn't really let people grow up quietly anymore. And once something's online, it stays online. The internet never forgets that. Here's something people don't really realize. The algorithm doesn't care if you have school tomorrow. It doesn't care if you're sick. It doesn't care if you're burnt out. It doesn't care if you're uploading. So young creators start thinking, if I stop posting, if people forget about me, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an anxiety thinking about, oh, if I don't post, I'm gonna lose all my popularity. I'll lose all my followers. No one's gonna talk about me anymore. The views, subscribers, followers, comments. Eventually, if you stop making videos, you stop making them because they're fun. You start making them because you're scared not to lose that. And now the hobby you once loved starts feeling like a job. And for most kids, don't really need that. Sure, you can have a regular 9 to 5, but most of the time, you don't need that. You're around the clock making content just to keep the facade of you being famous alive. Not facade, but keeping you famous, And Money can make things like really complicated. When you put money into something, right? Everything gets complicated, right? Let's say you're like 15. One sponsorship pays more than your parents make in a month. That is life changing. You know, that's life changing money, right? But it also creates pressure. Now every video isn't just making something because you want it to. It's income. If your views go down, your money goes down. If people stop watching, stress goes up. Some young creators even become the main source of income in their families. Now imagine carrying all that weight at like 15, 16. That's a lot for anyone, especially a teenager, you know. That's absolute bazonkers, right? And another problem, people expect young creators to act like adults. You know, you make one bad joke, one bad tweet, one mistake, and thousands of people are now up in arms about you. Now, this isn't to say you're excused from making terrible decisions, because, you know, even though you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you still have some level of cognitive abilities to realize that is stupid. That is wrong. I shouldn't do that. But, you know, there's some cases where you can give a little bit of grace because, you know, they haven't really fully figured it out. And I guess in some cases, like Rakai's case, he just doesn't have the right people around him, right? He has people way older than him teaching him things that he doesn't need to be learning. And not to say that people in his life are bad influences. Like, I think Kai Cenat and I don't want to say Duke Dennis. I don't really know Rakai's space, but like they're trying to build him up to be respectful. Like they're trying to motivate him, right? And I feel like that's really important. But at the same time, there's thousands of other people pushing him to be something that maybe he does want. I have no clue. But, you know, the difference is, like, most people like that, if they make mistakes in front of millions of people, the internet doesn't really give you a chance to grow. Instead, they just screenshot everything and just think that's the way you are, right? Now, don't get me wrong, being a young creator can also be amazing. Like, me making this YouTube video right now, I want to be big someday. I want to be famous. That's one of the main things I want to do. I don't want to be stuck behind a, you know, desk working the rest of my life people not knowing who I am. And maybe I'm projecting in some ways in this video. But like, I can understand that, like, being so young and getting that famous at such a short span time can be stressful and daunting, right? And, you know, you also learn a lot of things being a young creator. You know, you have to learn how to edit, because most of the time you yourself are editing, right? You don't have a team like most older or more experienced creators, right? You learn how to, like, speak publicly, even though I'm speaking to a camera right now. You learn how to market, you know, and some even make it so big to where they make amazing careers out of it before they even have old enough to vote, right? And it's genuinely impressive. Like, I'm not knocking down Rakai for his success. I'm not knocking any young creator who got it big on YouTube and is making an amazing living. You know, I want to be there too. But we can't ignore the problems that comes with being a young creator, especially on the internet nowadays in 2026, right? Soon the numbers become your self-worth, like your viewer count and your subscribers. It all becomes numbers you're feeding on to, like, you know, build yourself up. But, like, at the same time, you got to remember that as a young creator, subscribers, they're not your friends. Not to say that I don't love y'all, people who subscribe to me, but, you know, there's not like a personal connection there fully. Like, I love all y'all, right? But there's a certain amount of, like, things you have to understand, that getting more views, getting more subscribers doesn't fully mean that you have so many close friends. I don't know. This is just me rambling, right? The internet loves to see young creators succeed. It's a main thing on the videos. Everyone loves to see the underdog rise up from the ashes and go toe to toe with the big guys, right? But you also have to remember they're still growing up. I'm still growing up. And behind every viral clip, it's just a kid trying to figure out what the hell they're doing, right? What's the next step? What's the next in their future? All that. And I guess the question we should also ask is, are they actually doing okay, right? Like, I don't know much about everyone else, but I know for me, I'm not always up and giddy in the mood, right? I'm not always like, you know, enjoying life. And, I have my own problems that I need to deal with. Not to say that I'm not happy. I mean, maybe sometimes I'm not, but, that I'm getting sidetracked. Uh, my point being is if you still enjoy your life by the end of your streaming or after ending a YouTube video, that's all that really matters. You should enjoy what you make and not always have to like push for what other people want. You should make content for you, right? Obviously make it respectful, but like, make it for you. And that's all I really wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts down below. Love to hear what you guys think. All right, see ya.